Welcome back to Second Act First Date, episode number 17. Today we're diving into a topic that, well, let's just say it brings up a unique blend of emotions.
Hmm.
First dates after 50.
Oh, yeah.
Think butterflies, but maybe with a side of, have I done this right in a while? But don't worry, we've got you covered. Imagine stepping back onto the dating scene after years away.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world out there.
What's fascinating is how dating has evolved, especially for those over 50. It's not just dinner and a movie anymore.
Right.
There's a whole digital landscape to navigate new rules of engagement and honestly a chance to redefine what romance even means at this stage of life.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Yeah.
First off, dating after 50 is a new chapter.
Yes.
Not a repeat of the past.
But
We're not teenagers anymore.
exactly. Think about the wisdom and experience you bring to the table. You've learned from past relationships, you know what you value, and you're probably more comfortable in your own skin than ever before. That's a powerful foundation for forging genuine connections.
So true. But let's be real, the dating scene has changed.
Hmm.
Online dating is practically a must-navigate these days. I remember back in the day, it was all about meeting through friends or at social events. Now it seems like everyone's swiping left and right.
Right. Technology has revolutionized dating, and it's been a game changer for the over 50 crowd. Apps and websites like Match.com, eHarmony, OurTime, and Silver Singles are specifically designed for mature daters. They focus on connecting people based on shared values, life experiences, and relationship goals.
Okay, so I'm picturing myself wading into this online dating pool. Where do I even begin?
Creating a genuine profile is key. Use recent photos that reflect who you are today. Be honest about your interests, your passions, and what you're looking for in a partner. Avoid trying to be someone you're not, because authenticity builds trust and attraction.
That makes sense. But what about safety? I hear so many stories about catfishing and scams. It can be intimidating.
You're right to be cautious. Always meet in public places for the first few dates. Don't share personal information like your home address right away and trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. There's no need to feel pressured to meet someone if you're not comfortable.
Speaking of comfort, let's move on to the actual date. Choosing the right venue can make all the difference.
Absolutely. Think about places that promote ease of conversation. A cozy restaurant with a diverse menu can be a great option. It allows for shared experiences, gives you plenty to talk about, and you can gauge someone's personality by how they treat the waitstaff. Always a good sign.
That's a good point. And I've always loved the idea of art galleries or museums for first dates. They provide a more relaxed atmosphere. You can spark conversations based on shared interests. And it's a nice change of pace from the usual dinner routine.
I love that idea. It's less conventional, but it can be incredibly effective. Plus, it shows you're thinking outside the box, which can be appealing. And let's not forget about community events or local fairs.
Right. They offer a lively and engaging environment, and there's always something to talk about. Plus, it takes some of the pressure off because it's not just you two sitting across the table from each other.
Exactly. It's a great way to observe someone in a more natural setting and see how they interact with others.
Okay, let's say we found the perfect venue. Now comes the big challenge, sparking meaningful conversations.
Right.
Small talk can only get you so far. How do you go deeper?
It's all about asking open-ended questions that encourage the other person to share more about themselves. Instead of asking, "Do you like to travel?" Ask, "What's the most memorable trip you've ever taken and why?"
Oh, I like that. It invites them to tell a story, reveal their passions, and you get a glimpse into their personality.
Exactly. And remember, active listening is just as important as asking the right questions.
Wow.
Put your phone away, make eye contact, and truly engage with what the other person is saying. It shows genuine interest and encourages them to open up more.
If you're enjoying this deep dive into the world of dating after 50, be sure to check out our website, secondactfirstdatepodcast.com. We've got a ton of resources there,
Yeah.
articles, tips, and even a forum where you can connect with others who are navigating the same terrain. It's a great community.
It's a reminder that you're not alone in this journey. Dating can be daunting, but it can also be incredibly fun and rewarding.
Speaking of rewarding, let's talk about managing expectations and those inevitable first date jitters. It's been a while, right? What are some realistic expectations to have?
It's important to remember that the goal of a first date is simply to get to know someone and see if there's a connection. It's not about finding the one right away. It's about exploration, connection, and having a good time. If sparks fly, fantastic. But if not, it's okay. It doesn't mean you failed or there's something wrong with you. It's all about enjoying the process and being open to possibilities. Dating should be fun, not a chore.
So true. But let's be honest, first dates can be nerve-wracking at any age. And after 50, there might be some added layers of anxiety. Maybe you haven't dated in years or you're wondering if you still got it. It's all normal.
It's totally normal. The key is to be kind to yourself and acknowledge those feelings. Don't try to suppress them or pretend they don't exist. Instead, embrace them as part of the experience.
So any tips for calming those pre-date jitters?
Mm-hmm.
Besides a stiff drink, of course. I'm kidding. Mostly.
Well, deep breathing exercises can work wonders. Find a quiet spot beforehand, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. It helps slow down your heart rate and calm your mind. Visualization can be helpful too. Imagine yourself having a great time on the date, feeling confident and relaxed. It can trick your brain into actually feeling those things.
I love those ideas. I think having a few conversation topics in mind can also be helpful. Doesn't have to be a script, but just a few ideas to help get the conversation flowing if things get a little awkward.
That's a great tip. It can give you a sense of preparedness and boost your confidence.
Now let's move on to something that's incredibly important, especially after 50. Personal boundaries and relationship goals.
At this stage of life, you have a much clearer sense of what you want and don't want in a relationship. You've learned from experience, and you're probably more assertive about your needs.
It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle.
Exactly. So it's crucial to be upfront about your boundaries and expectations early on. What are your deal breakers? What are your non-negotiables? What are you hoping to gain from dating?
So how do you bring these things up without seeming too intense or scaring the other person off?
It's about being authentic and honest without overwhelming the other person. You don't need to lay down the law on the first date, but you can subtly weave those things into the conversation. For example, if you're looking for a partner who shares your love of travel, mention a recent trip you took or a destination you're dying to visit.
It's about planting those seeds early on so you can see if your values and aspirations align.
Precisely. And, just as importantly, be a good listener and try to understand the other person's perspective. It's a two-way street. Open communication is essential for building a strong foundation for any relationship, whether you're looking for a life partner or just a fun companion for exploring the world.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk about something a little lighter. Dress code and personal presentation.
I love this topic because it's not about conforming to some arbitrary standard of beauty. It's about presenting yourself in a way that makes you feel confident and reflects your unique personality.
So how do you strike that balance between looking your best and feeling comfortable on a first date, especially after 50?
I think the key is to dress appropriately for the venue and the occasion. You wouldn't wear a ball gown to a coffee date, right? Consider the setting and choose an outfit that reflects your personal style while also being comfortable.
Comfort is key, because if you're fidgeting with your clothes or feeling self-conscious, it will show.
Absolutely. Confidence comes from feeling good in your own skin. And don't forget about the basics. Good grooming, neat hair, and if you wear makeup that enhances your natural features, not masks them, it shows that you've put effort into yourself and respect the other person's time.
It's about putting your best foot forward, but not trying to be someone you're not.
Now let's talk about something that's inevitable in the world of dating, regardless of age. Rejection. Nobody likes to talk about it, but it's a reality.
Rejection. It seems right. How do you cope with it in a healthy way, especially after 50, when you might feel like you have less time to waste?
It's important to remember that rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's often just a matter of compatibility timing, or even something as simple as the other person having a bad day.
It's not a personal attack, even though it can feel that way sometimes.
Exactly. And it's crucial to reframe rejection as a learning opportunity. What can you take away from the experience? Maybe you realized you have a stronger preference for a certain type of person, or perhaps you learned that a particular venue isn't conducive to good conversation.
It's about turning those failures into valuable data points.
Exactly. And most importantly, don't let rejection discourage you from putting yourself out there again. Resilience is key. The more you date, the better you'll become at navigating the process and finding someone who's truly a good match for you.
It's about focusing on the journey, not just the destination.
And remember, there are so many amazing people out there looking for connection. Don't give up on love. It can happen at any age.
Okay, let's take a quick break from our deep dive to remind you about our website, secondactfirstdatepodcast.com. We've got a ton of great resources there, including articles on everything we've talked about today and more. It's a fantastic resource for anyone feeling lost or overwhelmed by the world of dating after 50.
We've got you covered.
All right, let's dive back into our conversation. We were talking about rejection and how important it is to maintain a positive outlook. But how do you stay optimistic when it feels like you're striking out?
Well, first and foremost, remember that dating is a process, and it takes time to find someone who's truly compatible with you. It's not a race, there's no finish line, you're not on a deadline.
It's about enjoying the ride, the ups and downs, the unexpected twists and turns.
Exactly. And it's crucial to focus on the journey, not just the destination. Each date, even if it doesn't lead to a second one, is an opportunity to learn more about yourself, what you're looking for and what you're not looking for.
It's like you're constantly refining your dating compass.
That's a great analogy. And it's important to surround yourself with a supportive network of friends and family who can offer encouragement and perspective.
Sometimes just talking it out with someone who understands can make all the difference. It helps you process those emotions and stay focused on the bigger picture.
Absolutely. And don't forget to celebrate the small victories along the way. Maybe you had a great conversation with someone online, or you felt really confident and comfortable on a first date, even if it didn't lead to anything romantic. Those are all positive steps in the right direction.
It's about acknowledging your progress and recognizing that you're putting effort into something that's important to you.
Exactly. And remember, finding love after 50 is absolutely possible. In fact, many people find that their relationships later in life are even more fulfilling and meaningful than their earlier ones.
Because you're bringing so much more to the table. You've got life experience, wisdom, and a deeper understanding of who you are and what you want.
Precisely. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about a topic that often comes up when discussing dating: first date etiquette. Are there any specific do's and don'ts to keep in mind, especially after 50?
Oh, definitely. I think good manners never go out of style, but there are a few things that are particularly important to keep in mind when dating after 50.
Like what?
Well, for starters, punctuality is crucial. It shows that you respect the other person's time. And it's just common courtesy. We're all busy adults. No one wants to waste time waiting around.
Absolutely. And it's a good habit to confirm the date and time beforehand just to make sure you're both on the same page. Life gets hectic. Sometimes things slip our minds. A quick text or call can save a lot of hassle.
And of course, being respectful and considerate is paramount. It's about treating the other person as an equal, listening attentively and engaging in genuine conversation.
Yes. Whether it's holding the door open, offering to pay for the date, or simply being mindful of the other person's needs, those small acts of kindness can go a long way. But it's also about respecting their opinions, even if you don't agree, and being mindful of their personal space.
And speaking of paying, it's always a good idea to have a conversation about who's picking up the tab.
It doesn't have to be awkward. You can simply say something like, "I'd like to treat you tonight," or "Would you be comfortable splitting the bill?"
Open communication is key, as always.
And while it's great to be complimentary, avoid making comments that could be perceived as overly personal or invasive.
Keep it respectful, focus on getting to know the person, and let the compliments flow naturally.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to be mindful of your phone. Put it away during the date and focus on the conversation. It shows that you're present and engaged.
It's such a basic thing, but it makes a huge difference. It shows that you value the person's company and you're not distracted by other things.
Now, what about physical intimacy on a first date? Is it okay? Is it not okay? What are your thoughts?
That's a great question. And honestly, there's no right or wrong answer. I think it really depends on the individuals involved and their comfort levels. There's no need to feel pressure to do anything you're not ready for.
Exactly. It's about respecting each other's boundaries and being honest about your own needs and desires.
And it's important to remember that physical intimacy doesn't necessarily equate to a successful date. Sometimes the best dates are the ones where you simply connect on an intellectual and emotional level.
That's so true. And if you're not feeling a spark, don't feel pressured to do anything you're not comfortable with.
Your intuition is your best guide. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is.
Now let's talk about something that can be a bit of a minefield. Talking about past relationships on a first date. Is it ever okay, or is it always a no-no?
It's a tricky one. I think it's generally best to avoid dwelling on past relationships,
Yeah.
especially if there's any lingering baggage or bitterness.
It can be a bit of a mood killer, right?
But if it comes up organically in conversation, I think it's okay to briefly touch on it. Just keep it light and focus on the lessons you've learned.
That's a good approach. Frame it in a positive light.
And avoid bad-mouthing your exes. It just makes you look bitter and resentful.
Right. Focus on the present and the future.
Now, what about the end of the date? Any tips for navigating that awkward goodbye?
I think honesty and clarity are key. If you're interested in seeing the person again, let them know. You can simply say something like, "I had a really great time tonight. I'd love to see you again."
And if you're not feeling it, it's okay to be honest, but also kind.
You can say something like, I appreciate you taking the time to meet me. I enjoyed our conversation, but I'm not feeling a romantic connection. Or, I had a nice time, but I'm not sure we're a good match romantically.
It's direct, but also respectful.
And remember, no matter how the date ends, always thank the other person for their time.
Good manners go a long way. It's all about ending things on a positive note, even if it wasn't a love connection. Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into first dates after 50,
Yeah.
I want to touch on something super important.
Yeah.
Self-care.
That's such a crucial point. Dating can be emotionally draining, especially if you're putting yourself out there and facing rejection. It's like a roller coaster of emotions. Excitement, hope, disappointment, maybe even a little bit of frustration.
It's a lot to process.
Yeah.
So how do we take care of ourselves throughout this journey?
Yeah.
What does self-care even look like when you're navigating the dating scene?
First and foremost, make sure you're taking care of your physical health. That means eating nutritious foods, getting enough sleep, and engaging in regular exercise.
It's amazing how much those basic things can impact your mood and energy levels. When you feel good physically, you're more likely to feel confident and positive, which can make a huge difference when you're dating.
Absolutely. And don't forget about mental and emotional self-care. Make time for activities that bring you joy and help you relax. Whether it's reading, listening to music, spending time in nature, catching up with friends, or indulging in a hobby you love, those little things can make a big difference.
It's about filling your cup so you have something to give to others.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to seek professional help if you're feeling overwhelmed or struggling to cope with the emotional ups and downs of dating. Therapy can be an incredibly valuable tool for navigating those challenges and gaining a deeper understanding of yourself.
Sometimes talking to a neutral third party
Mm,
can provide insights and perspectives that we might not be able to see on our own.
right.
So true. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yes.
I want to leave our listeners with a few final thoughts. What are your key takeaways for those embarking on the journey of dating after 50?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say embrace this new chapter with an open mind and a positive attitude. Dating after 50 can be an exciting and rewarding experience. It's a chance to connect with like-minded people, explore new possibilities, and maybe even find love. But even if you don't find the one, you're likely to gain valuable experiences, make new friends, and learn more about yourself along the way.
I love that. It's all about the journey, not just the destination. And remember, you have a lot to offer. Your life experience, wisdom, and maturity are valuable assets.
Right.
Don't be afraid to be your authentic self. Let your personality shine through quirks and all. The right person will appreciate you for who you are.
Absolutely. Set clear boundaries, communicate your needs and expectations, and don't settle for anything less than you deserve.
And most importantly, have fun. Enjoy the process of getting to know new people and exploring the possibilities that come with dating.
Wise words. And if you're looking for more tips, resources, and support on your dating journey, be sure to visit our website, secondactfirstdatepodcast.com. We've got a wealth of information there to help you navigate the world of dating after 50.
Thanks for listening to Second Act First Date. Over 40 and awkward. We'll catch you next time.